Hello, good evening. Welcome to Midlands Today from the BBC. Tonight, another big policing row. This time, it's about police authorities, the independent groups whose job it is to make sure each force works efficiently and effectively.
The Home Secretary has hit out at them, saying that in the riots they were invisible and they're being scrapped anyway.
But her words have infuriated the chairman of the West Midlands Police Authority, who says during last week's riots he was anything but invisible. In fact, he says her comments are a personal insult and added he may demand an apology. Kath Mackey reports.
For a man accused of being invisible, Derek Webley, the chairman of the West Midlands Police Authority, loomed large at a press conference in Birmingham. What's more, he was angry.
An accusation has been made that we are invisible. What I did not want was a further accusation to be made that we are also quiet.
That accusation had come from the Home Secretary. In a post-riot speech on policing, Theresa May turned on the police authorities.
In London, the mayor was on the streets of his city. The contrast with unaccountable, unelected and invisible police authority chairmen in other parts of the country could not have been clearer.
Which is seriously inaccurate, at least according to West Midlands Police Authority, who say their 17 members were working tirelessly behind the scenes to restore calm. A point made to the Prime Minister when he came to Birmingham last week. And that's why Derek Webley says he feels personally insulted by the Home Secretary's comments.
What the people did not need was a distraction of police authority members on the front pages trying to get the limelight. What we needed was the streets brought back to a level of calm and normality, and that has been achieved.
This isn't just about who did what and when. The bottom line is the government wants to get rid of police authorities and replace them with elected police commissioners, who they say will be more accountable to the public. It's a plan supported by a Midlands MP who's written about the need for police reform.
The Cabinet Office did a survey in 2007 that showed just 7% of those questioned would contact their police authority if they had a problem with policing or crime in their area. And I think that shows that these police authorities are just invisible to the vast majority of the general public. 93% of the public don't know that they exist.
It wasn't just about visibility. She said you were unelected and unaccountable. Hasn't she got a point?
That is a matter for the government. The authority can only work with the mechanism that the authority has in law.
Derek Webley says he doesn't want a dogfight with the Home Secretary, just the record setting straight. A week after the riots in the West Midlands, and the political fallout is raining down. Kath Mackey, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
Well, let's go live now to our political editor, Patrick Burns, who's at West Midlands Police Headquarters. Patrick, first Mr Cameron, the Chief Constable at Loggerheads, now Theresa May and the Police Authority Chairman. What's really going on here, do you think?
What we're seeing, Suzanne, is a politically high-octane combination of the power struggle and the apportionment of blame, frankly. The government very definitely want to make sure that the police and by extension, police authorities around the country take their responsibility for what ministers see as an inadequate response to the horrors of last week. But Derek Webley and his colleagues on this and other police authorities want to get the message across that far from being the ineffective and spent forces that the government would have you believe, they've been actively involved in working behind the scenes, maybe not popping up on the news every 5 minutes, but doing their best to restore public order, and also that they will go about the business of holding the Chief Constable to account and working with that Home Affairs Select Committee inquiry. They've got a job to do, they say.
So why is the Home Secretary so determined to shake things up and plan for elections next May for new-style police and crime commissioners then?
Remember, Suzanne, that this government sees itself as a reforming administration. It blames previous governments for shirking the business of reforming the police, the last great unreformed public service in this country as they see it. And they think that relationships with police authorities have become just a little bit too cosy. That's why you need this high-profile figure, this crime and police commissioner, to hold the police to account, to set the budgets, potentially hire and fire chief constables in the knowledge that they can be hired and fired by the electorate themselves.
OK, Patrick, interesting stuff. Thanks very much indeed for that. Well, last night we asked for your views on the proposed cuts to police budgets. We had a huge email, phone and Facebook response. In fact, your views are still coming in. Thanks very much indeed for all of them.
Yeah, Clive Arnold Green wrote, "I am a retired police officer and a Conservative supporter, but I am aghast at the naivety of the Prime Minister and government. Who does he think he's kidding? Of course, the drastically reduced police numbers will make a difference to the response that they can provide."
Well, Bob Gregory writes, are we really saying that every penny spent by the police is spent wisely? I don't think so, he says. We all have to save money at the moment.
Clive Griffiths, he writes, our police force is the envy of the world, but this government seems intent on wrecking it when we need them most. Stop the cuts, give the police the resources they need, and then leave them to get on with the job.
Well, Helen Gilbert says it's not the government that's cutting police numbers. They've just released the police budget. She says it's the police authority that determines how to implement this budget. They could have ring-fenced frontline police and cut budgets elsewhere. That's her comments, and that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid, tonight. But thanks very much indeed for all your comments and emails and Facebook messages too.
Now, a 30